customers.
I know.
Yeah, they were out there because Garrett works at Maura, and his brother, Eric, is like a professional musician up in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
It was so fun.
I took a bass lesson.
Oh yeah, this is a bass player.
I remember I saw him at Full Festival like 10 years ago. He was like 17 or 16 then. I could like hear bass, and I was just like, who at this festival is playing bass that well? And I walked over, and it was like him.
Teenager.
He was like 17. He was just like, sure.
Yeah.
And he played mandolin too.
Yeah, we played mandolin. He played mandolin and guitar at his camp out, and it was cool because we just knew a lot of the same songs.
Yeah,
and he's
they grew
super
up at the Full Fest.
super smooth player, and yeah, it's fun. cheetah.
That's a little chestnut. It's an old one.
Yeah.
Little cheats.
There's two versions in here.
Play the right one. Is it A or D?
I don't want to do that.
Little tag at the ending.
Classic tag. What about like the classic jazz tag? It's like
Oh yeah.
it's more like a swing.
Maybe it's right there.
Oh, and these slippers.
And long chestnut.
Old chestnut. Where'd you get? Where'd you pick that up?
No, that's okay. No, like it means like it, like you know, like a well-loved prize chestnut.
There's Kentucky mild chestnut.
Wait, what?
I don't know if that's
I'm your old chestnut?
Mild chestnut.
kind of works.
Okay, I like that.
Francis, an old treasured song.
I'm an old treasured Cool. Yeah, it's a good message. How's it going, Andrew?
Harris and Maggie. What was the other?
Alright.
G.
Of course.
here, it's in G.
Do it in G. Probably never ever played in any other key.
You ready?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kentucky Costello. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So thank you so much to Waxwings for the lovely music. Thank you all so much. So just wanted to let you know, we're going to get started in about 10 minutes. There are refreshments on the back of this cottage porch for you to enjoy. Please go back and get some of Maura's herbal hibiscus tea, and then there's also some snacks. If you need to use the restroom, the restrooms are open in the back of the Florida School of Massage. If you follow the statues of the folks dancing, it's the white door. You can go through there, and there's 2 restrooms there. We are going to have some scheduled speakers, and then afterwards we're going to invite people to come up and speak. So if you feel called to share a story about Maura and her life, there will be time for that at the end. Additionally, after the ceremony, we'd like to invite you to join us at the Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery to visit Maura's grave. So we'll get started in about 10 minutes. Thank you again so much for being here. Kentucky Costello. I went to the Florida School of Massage in 2009, and right before that is when I met Maura Brady, who became one of my dearest and best friends. So I'm so happy to see you all here. Looks like this microphone is trying to revolt. For those of us who are just arriving, housekeeping, there is a restroom in the back right corner of the Florida School of Massage. There are refreshments on the porch right behind me. Feel free to take care of your needs throughout the ceremony. We're going to start with some scheduled speakers, and then we're going to have about 10 minutes of an intermission. Wax Wings is going to come up and play some music to give time for pop-up impromptu speakers. So if you would like to share a memory of Maura Brady, that'll be the time to do so after the band plays their second set. Afterwards, we would like to invite you to the Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery to join us at Maura's burial plot. And if you did not already sign in on the sign-in table, there is, if you're a City of Gainesville resident, there is a sign-up sheet for a petition to change the McRory Community Garden to the Maura Brady Community Garden. Anyone who knows or who knew Maura, she was an incredible gardener, and she was a long time, I don't know if you call it like, I guess, leader of the McRory Community Garden in downtown Gainesville. And so we would like to honor her in that way and change the name. So I'm just going to open it up, I guess, by kind of speaking about my friendship with Maura. But first, I'd like to read a poem that really moved me today. This is called When Death Comes by Mary Oliver. When death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door of curiosity, full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility, and I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy and as singular, and each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does towards silence, and each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. When I read that this morning, it reminded me so much of our dear friend Maura Brady. Maura was a doer. Maura did not wait for anything. I can certainly say that having known her for the past 13 years in so many different capacities, that she lived with so much vibrance that I will carry that with me forever. It's been very difficult these last 3 months, even trying to process that she's left this bodily plane and that I can't just call her and ask her for gardening advice or invite her to come kayaking with me. And I imagine it's probably been very difficult for all of you, so I so appreciate you being here today. Our first scheduled speaker is Mary Reese. So Mary, if you'd like to go ahead and come up.
So bear with me. I've never done this before. I've never lost a friend. And I've never spoken at a memorial service. So those of you that know me know that I like to prepare, and I'm going to be reading my notes because I don't have my PowerPoint presentation to spark my brain and know what to say. So bear with me. My name is Mary Reese, and I met Maura in 1994 when we were both new staff members at the Florida School of Massage. Over the last 27 years, we have sat in many circles together here at the school, and our relationship as colleagues and friends evolved and deepened. There was a quality to our relationship that is difficult to explain to people who are not part of this school, and it was especially unique with her. And I am honored to be here today to talk about her with you, especially to you, the Brady family. Could you do me a favor, and if you're a Brady, could you please raise your hand so that I know who I'm speaking to? Thank you. All right. I don't know how much you know about the school or her role here, but I can tell you that she was very good about what she did. She was very committed to the program and highly skilled. And I know this because I taught with her for almost 20 years. I witnessed her dedication and skill firsthand, and I have a great deal of respect for her as a teacher and a human. I will greatly miss her company in the classroom, her presence at the school, and her masterful hands. She was incredible. So Maura started here as an assistant teacher, like we all do when we first come on staff, but she progressed to the role of lead teacher in everything that she taught. That meant that she interacted with the students for quite a long time while they were in their program, and she was one of their main teachers. She was like a midwife in a way, ushering students along with great care, teaching them how to slow down and pay attention, and showing them how to touch one another and communicate with skill and compassion. She was like a mother hen, tending to the students, tending to the building, and tending to the program as if it were her own. Losing Maura feels very surreal at this point. She's been around here as long as I have been. She's always been part of my experience here at FSM. It's hard to believe that I won't be sitting next to her in circle, co-teaching in connective tissue, laughing together, or watching how her contagious giggle would get everyone in the room laughing. It's hard to contextualize my relationship with her and put it into words. Telling you she was my friend and colleague leaves much to your interpretation of what those words mean, and I imagine that the words may not convey the depth of our shared commitment and bond. But I think a little explanation about the Florida School of Massage and the nature of what we do here might actually help. The mission statement of the Florida School of Massage is this: to improve the quality of life through the vehicles of touch and awareness. And I'm going to say that again because that's just a lot of words the first time you hear it. To improve the quality of life through the vehicles of touch and awareness. Notice that this statement doesn't mention anything about teaching people how to be massage therapists. It's a curious mission statement, and it's kind of like stealthy, okay? Why would a focus on improving the quality of life using touch and awareness be the mission statement for a professional trade school? Well, to begin with, this education requires us to actually inhabit the space of our bodies in order to learn the work. While there's a significant amount of information, book learning, lecture, material that you have to learn from the outside in and be prepared to regurgitate for a test, the most important parts of learning to become a massage therapist comes from giving and receiving the work, learning from the inside out and paying attention and feeling, and then talking about the experience with each other. Few of us are capable of truly paying attention and feeling when we come to school here. As babies, we are sensing experts, feeling our way into this world, and navigating how to use our bodies. Most of us, however, turn off this feeling nature for various reasons. When we don't feel safe, we move into survival mode. With chronic lack of safety, we learn to take refuge in thought and reason. And we learn to stuff everything, our feelings, our experiences that we don't like, and we just stuff them away and act like they don't exist. In the process of orienting away from our sensorial beingness, away from our experience, we limit our experiences in life, living more from our intellect and less from our organic nature. I'm really good at that. Maura was not. Okay? She could stay with the feeling. More on that later. So helping students reconnect with this innate sensing ability is an important element in the program here at the Florida School of Massage, and it requires a safe environment to do so. One in which we can let down our habitual ways of thinking and acting and stuffing in order to be vulnerable enough, in order to feel and experience what arises. Maura was critical in this process of creating a safe environment. She set the stage for communication, emphasizing I statements, helping students to discern the difference between their observations and imaginations. I see you sitting there in your chair looking at me as I speak, and I'm imagining some of you are actually liking what I have to say, and some of you are totally checking out. And if you are, I'm really sorry, okay? She fostered listening and compassion for one another. It was as if she were stripping away the surface habitual personalities that we all carry around with us to clear the way for that deeper and more connected way of being with one another to emerge. There's something about this stuffing thing that we do in order to not feel. It happens when we can't handle what's happening. It's a survival mechanism to help us get through periods of great stress. We unconsciously disconnect and stuff the uncomfortable things down away from our heads so that we can carry on with life and the tasks that are in front of us. But these pushed away things can stay in our bodies. We don't know that we have stored them there, and they will stay there hidden for a long time. But in massage school, the process of re-inhabiting our bodies, being aware of ourselves while being touched, it allows for all that we are experiencing to come to the surface. It includes not only the sensation of the massage itself, but sensations that may be stored in parts of our body as well. It's not that the goal of this work is to bring that out, and it's not as linear as I make it sound. But when we hold space for ourselves and each other in this way, sensations, those stuffed up things that we pushed away, can arise. And it's often surprising when they show up. We don't even expect it. So at that point, if we're paying attention, we have the opportunity to make a choice, to feel or not to feel. That becomes the question. Okay? How are y'all doing? Am I just going on too long? Is this good? Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, good. Allowing ourselves to feel those feelings instead of avoiding them. To allow memories to arise without pushing them away. All of this allows for transformation. We emerge from the experience lighter, more connected, and more whole. And our quality of life improves. There is a direct knowing that happens. a kinesthetic learning, an understanding that goes far beyond the information that we are told about how to give a massage. We learn to trust what we feel and experience, communicate with more skill, and value being present with one another. The depth of knowing that comes from this kind of learning and connection produces really high-quality massage therapists. But more importantly, it facilitates the evolution of our humanity. We are empowering students to listen and learn to all that is available inside here, and to hold space for others to do the same. So for the mission statement of FSM to improve the quality of life through the vehicles of touch and awareness, it's actually a great mission and a pretty great thing to have in this world. So I know that I've been talking a lot about school, and I've said only a little bit about Maura. But my hope is that it gives you a sense of how she was in her job, and maybe a greater understanding of how she was in the world. Now I want to give you an opportunity to kind of experience the qualities that I'm talking about. So, when was the last time you stopped and paid attention? You can hear my words as I speak. And I imagine that for many of you, your minds have been wandering as I've blathered on. But let's take a minute to stop. Close your eyes, if you feel comfortable, and listen to the sounds all around us. Feel into your body. Feel the contact with the chair or the ground. Feel how your body orients itself to be supported by your sits bones or your feet. Feel the air on your skin. Notice your breath. Feel the parts of your body that move as you breathe. And just notice what's here. Perhaps there is a narrator inside your head talking to no one but you. You have the choice to listen or not, but don't push it away. It's part of us. Continue to sense and feel inside, even as thoughts come into your awareness. Sense. Feel the space within the boundary of your skin. Feel what's outside the boundary of your skin. Feel your heart beating inside your chest. Feel how far beyond your chest you can feel the pulsing. And notice the quality of sensation in your heart. How does it feel today? How was it this morning? And how is it right now, right here in this moment, as we sit here together remembering our dear Maura? Notice the impact on your heart when you remember her. Notice the thoughts as they show up. Notice any feelings that come. The quality of sensation that is here. It doesn't have to be a certain way. Just sense. And if it feels okay to do so, allow it to be here without stuffing or pushing it away. Take a moment to bask in what is here. Even if you don't feel anything, notice what nothing feels like. And take a minute of silence. So you can bring your attention back here. Thank you for doing that with me. That is something that Maura was really good at. She did that with the students regularly. So for those of us working in a school like this, providing the space for others to sense within and deepen into their true nature, it is an exciting process. And we really embody much of what we teach, at least we do on the good days, you know. But this quality of being with the students carries over in our presence with each other and in our daily lives. I always admired Maura's ability to be with discomfort and not shy away from it. To be with people amidst all their uncomfortable feelings, their insecurities, their fear, shame, anger, and doubt. She could also speak to her own. She led by example. She could be with the ugly, messy stuff that we don't like to show to anybody, and she wouldn't run away. She did it in the classroom, she did it with her colleagues, and I imagine she probably did it with everyone she was close to. And this process allowed us all to grow. When Maura would ask me, "How are you?" she really wanted to know. And I knew that I had a choice as to how I could respond. I could give the more standard, fine, pretty good. Or I could tell her that I was scared for my husband in the hospital and that everything I've known is falling apart. I could bitch about my child and talk about his joys, and she never doubted my love for him or thought less of me as a parent. Okay? For me, I do and I carry a lot, and I often keep things to myself. But when I really needed her, she was there. Whether it was on the massage table tending to my body or sitting with me during the hardest period of my life, she would just show up with her nut-crusted quiche, feed me and my family, and just be with us in the way that only Maura could do. I believe it was Maura who once said that her job here at FSM was to love the students into being. She did that. She did it well. And she did it not only in the classroom, but in her life in general. She loved us all into being. The evening of February 16th, 2021, was set up as an evening for Maura's friends and family to show up for her. To show up at her house, surround it, so that she, amidst all her suffering, could look out her bedroom window and know how much we loved and cared for her. But instead of us surrounding her with our love, she left her body and surrounded us with hers. If you were there at the candlelight ceremony and you paid attention, you could actually feel it. There was a quality in the atmosphere, a quality of thickness and a quality of presence. This quality shows up around birth and death, and it was there that evening. Her presence, her essence, infusing the atmosphere with love. Andrew Taylor Still, the founder of osteopathy, says that the body is the second placenta. My take on what he meant by that is that our first gestational period is spent in a watery medium inside our mothers. This life that we know now is our second gestational period, and it's spent in this body, breathing air on our land mother. Where we go from here, we do not know, but Maura, we wish you all the love of this world as you travel on.
Thank you, Mary, for that really beautiful dedication to Maura. Next, we'll have Michael Bross.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
I have no idea what I'm going to say. So, again, my name is Michael Bross. I came here to the school in 1998. My wife and I went to the program, graduated in March of '99. In that same month, I did a craniosacral workshop, the first time I met Maura. And we actually ended up partnering up throughout the course of that weekend. And if you knew Maura well enough, you'd know that she was fearless. She was really about being in her body. She could be as vulnerable as anybody I've ever seen. And I have a clear memory of working with her. And I wasn't skilled enough at that point to know that she had already processed so much of the weekend. She'd kind of checked out. She wasn't there in her body when I was working with her, and she was so present with herself and me in the process that the truth is I really didn't know what was happening in the moment with her, because she left, and it wasn't until one of the teachers came over and said, "Girl, you're cooked," and that was okay. And so that time with Maura was my introduction to her and who she was and how she was. And she's so, she was Maura. There was nobody like her. I sat next to her, ended up sitting next to her and teaching communication skills and polarity therapy for about 18 and 16 years respectively. And it was so easy. I liked being with her. In polarity therapy, we taught this one process we called the client-led session. And we always do a demo in class, and then the students practice. In the client-led session, the idea was that the person would get on the table, and they would actually lead the therapist through the entire session. So they could take them wherever they wanted to go. And for the 18 or so years that I worked with Maura, she was always the client. And I'm so grateful for that, because I'm not as easy and open about being with myself and my feelings as she was. And in those classes, she would follow whatever was going on for her. And it wasn't always pretty. And Maura didn't care. What she cared about was, what was most important to her was communicating to the students and teaching the students it's okay to be vulnerable. And if there's anything that I learned from Maura, and hopefully I think a lot of you I recognize as past students here, and hopefully you learned that too. It's okay to be vulnerable. And Maura she embodied that. She could go anywhere, anytime, and be herself. And that's a rare quality in the world. I don't know too many people that are really okay with who they are. Maybe she wasn't okay all the time with who she was, but she acknowledged it. Whatever was going on for her, she would acknowledge it. And she was a great model for how to be in the world. She taught me a lot. So I taught communication skills with her, which is, for those of you there, was a interesting class sometimes, really fun sometimes, really not sometimes, could get really emotional, could get really tender. And she was so good with holding the space for somebody. You know, we use that term a lot around holding the space, but for Maura, she could just be with whatever was going on. And in that moment, she was really good at unconditional love and acceptance. And that's a gift, to give that to somebody when they're in their shit, you know. And but she was really good at that. Early on, the first, I don't know, few years that we taught, she would call me up at night and she'd be freaking out about something. John, it was often you. She loved you so much, man. You know that. So anyway, and then I got to watch her evolve as a person and as a therapist. And through that evolution, I saw her come more and more into her own power, into her own being. And it was just beautiful to watch. I'm shocked that she's gone. I imagine a lot of you are too. I have no where to put this. Where do I put the loss of somebody that was so near and dear to me for so many years? So I've been kind of, in a sense, looking forward to being here to help me roll things along inside. It's going to take a long time, I think. So I think it was in December or January, Maura called my wife and I, Valerie, up and asked us if we want to go kayaking down the Chetuckney. Of course, we did that. And so my last quality time I spent with her was the thing that she loved to do most. Those of you who know her know that if she had any space and time in her life, she's on the river. You know, she was all about that. And that brought her so much joy, and she passed that joy along to everybody she came in contact with. I'm going to miss her. I retired here a couple of years ago, and in a sense, I'm glad, because I don't think I could be here without her, to be honest with you. Because she was such a part of my process of being here. She was a great friend, a great mentor, a great therapist. I knew I could go to her if I had something going on, and she would totally unconditionally love me with no judgment. And I don't meet a whole lot of people in my life that can do that. And so she was one. And I imagine if you were a graduate and you were in a classroom with Maura and or myself, that you got a sense, you really know who she was. I can't say enough words about her to tell you how she was if you don't know. She was a remarkable being, and the school is not going to be the same without her. My life is not going to be the same without her. And I imagine a lot of you here, your life is not going to be the same without her. She blessed us all with her presence, her giggle, which I got so tired of after so many years. Anyway, she was a sweet one. So yeah, and I just also just want to take a moment and just to feel into this space, because in some sense, this is Maura's maybe final gift to us, the people that she loved. We're here, we're together. There's love in the air. There's connection. That's what she was about. So I would just want to acknowledge Maura and thank you, Maura, for what you've given me and what you've given all of your students. And by the way, if you didn't know it, Maura cared more about the students here, her students, than anybody I've ever met, how they could care so much, so deeply, individually, about everybody that came to this program. She didn't leave anybody out. Her ability to be with somebody in whatever they had going on was remarkable. I learned a lot of that from her. She was a dear, dear, dear friend, and I'm going to miss her for the rest of my life. So, I love you, Maura. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Michael. Next, we have Robin Brady.
Hi, I'm one of Maura's older sisters. I wrote her a poem for Maura, for all of us really. It's called Because of Maura. Because of Maura, we have come to celebrate her life. Because of Maura, on these grounds, people learned about the body and how to care for it and how to care for one another. Because of Maura, a garden grows with a rainbow festival of colors, lettuce and broccoli, chard and eggplant, herbs and sweet, sweet, sweet potatoes. Because of Maura, a beautiful boy was born 24 years ago. Because of Maura, I could lie on a crisp, soft cotton sheet dotted with floral patterns in a quiet, light-filled room and feel her strong, warm hands massage my neck, shoulders, arms, back, legs, feet. Because of Maura, a house was a haven for a gathering of friends, for hundreds of begging trick-or-treaters, for students needing shelter, for respite from the heat. Because of Maura, a kitchen became the bountiful source of organic soups and salads and cookies and spreads. Because of Maura, the springs resounded with laughter as she tubed and kayaked and swam in its cool waters. Because of Maura, she told me to taste a mysterious plant in my garden, and to our delight, we found it to be arugula. Because of Maura, the farmers market and garage sales had a wise customer ready to relieve them of harvests and treasures. Because of Maura, December 7th marked not only the beginning of a war, but also the start of a giving, loving, introspective, productive, generous, inspiring life. Because of Maura, our family was bigger than the Brady Bunch. Because of Maura, Sheila, Ann, Tim, Robin, Paul, Maura, Molly rolled off the tongue, and now there is a catch. Because of Maura, the earth had a thoughtful caretaker, even in her death. Because of Maura, we wake early, straining to hear her voice, and in its place, we watch the gray, pink, yellow of the sunrise.
Thank you for that, Robin. Next, we'll have Ann Brady, also Mara Brady's older sister.
Hello. I first want to just thank the Florida School of Massage for having us here. We talked about a few different places, and in Maura's last moments, talked about the Thomas Center and maybe Ichetucknee, and maybe here. And this is just perfect. It's Maura, and for those of you who have been here and know this place, I'm sure you can feel her spirit. And for those of us who have never been here before, we can feel her spirit. So thank you to the school, to Gordy, to Chrissy for all your help. You made a stressful event planning very easy, and we so appreciate that. So thank you. So I'm here mostly to share memories of Maura on behalf of some of the Brady family who just didn't feel that they could get up here or are not here today. So first is from Maureen, also known as Mom. I don't know how to put in words my thoughts and feelings because so much comes to mind when remembering Maura. From collecting beads at Mardi Gras in New Orleans, to lunch at the Biltmore Hotel in Asheville, to her side porch overflowing with kids and grown-ups in costumes on Halloween. Whenever she came to visit in Winter Park, laden with fresh flowers and fresh vegetables from the community garden, I knew from experience that big changes were going to happen. From closets being organized, to windows being washed, even to walls being painted. She was a human dynamo from the time she was a brownie and appeared on the Wee Willie Weber TV show, right up through her travels through Europe by bike with Molly. But she knew how to take time out and relax. We used to meditate together. She from what she learned at Vipassana, and me from centering prayer. When Janakai was growing up, she was very involved with his homeschooling, which set him on the right path for the future. And her connection with the Florida School of Massage, the teachers and the students, was a dream come true. A full life well lived, and a daughter to be proud of. So this is from Sheila. Sheila is the oldest sister, well, the oldest of everyone, sisters and brothers. We have two brothers, too. They often get lost in the shuffle, but two brothers. Maura was a force of nature. From her earliest days when she was funny and quirky and cute, to her middle years when she went to Grateful Dead shows and Vipassana meditation retreats and biked everywhere, including through Europe, to her more recent times, creatively raising her son and teaching and practicing massage. She never swayed from a strong commitment to protect the earth and live sustainably. Maura cried and laughed with full abandon. I loved the times I got to spend with her at the beach, biking along the water, swimming in the waves, or just walking along looking in the shops. I miss my little sister. And this is from Rick, who's my partner, who's I guess kind of like a brother-in-law. And he's known Maura as long as he's known me, which is a little over 10 years. I knew Maura for a few years before she told me of a surprising passion. The Maura I knew was a kind and soft-spoken soul into gardening, organic food, craft beers, and recycling. One day we were talking about cable TV. She told me that she subscribed to cable just to get one channel. I was thinking, okay, Some food or gardening channel, maybe. Nope. She subscribed to the NBA channel. She loved pro basketball. Loved it more than anyone else I knew. She was the only person I knew who subscribed to the NBA channel, where you can get the games from all over the country, multiple games per day during the season. In the off season, you can watch old classic games. It's called NBA League Pass. It's a sports television service that features all National Basketball Association games. You can watch up to 40 NBA games a week. At 2.5 hours per game, that's 100 hours a week of NBA basketball. I never asked her how much she watched, but she knew the players, the plays, the b-ball lingo, and the standings. I was floored. Just another fascinating facet of a fascinating person's life. Okay. This is from my son, Max. Maura's aunt. He's 22. As I grew older and learned lessons through life experiences, I started to see a connection between my perspective on life and the universe and the way that my Aunt Maura lived her life. And since then, I had wanted to get into a deep talk about life with her and hear her perspective firsthand, which I was never able to do, unfortunately. But I recently had an experience that gave me some much needed closure about getting to know Maura on a deeper level. I was playing pool with a guy at a bar, and as we were talking, he mentioned that he was a massage therapist. I asked him where he went to school. He told me. I asked him who his teacher was, and he said he had lots of teachers. I asked if Maura Brady was one of them. His eyes lit up, and he asked me excitedly if I knew Maura. She's my aunt, I said. He then went on to tell me a multitude of stories that confirmed all my prior assumptions about Maura, and one that I hadn't known, but as we talked, made sense, and that was how strict and disciplined she was. I hadn't known Aunt Maura to be strict, but I understood how discipline was important in her work. He talked about how she was a master of not only the physical attributes of massage therapy, but also the energy involved, and how being in a mindful, present mental state is what makes a really good massage therapist. Hearing these things from the perspective of one of her students felt so good, because I've had the feeling that we share a lot of the same views about life and our purpose as humans. But to have that confirmed through a random interaction at a bar, it warms my heart and gives me closure that I didn't even know I needed. And I may see him again, not in a bar, because he offered as a tribute to Maura to give me free massages anytime I want. Okay, and this is from me. What more can you say about someone who brought not only her own sheets when she visited, but often her own bed? Who brought her coffee maker and coffee with enough to share, and left behind homemade pesto and fresh arugula from her garden? What more can you say about someone who quietly resisted the tide of consumerism, but not the art of the purchase? Who participated in the gift and commodity exchange of garage sales and was able to find you the exact match for the missing part of a juicer circa 1950? Or who secured antique sheets or replacement silverware in a consumer-to-consumer marketplace, also known as eBay? What more can you say about someone who quietly embodied the ethos of act locally, think globally, before it became cool, who never examined others' lives and how one chose to live, but effortlessly shared more humane alternatives. What more can you say about someone who thought less of society's urging to gain a college degree than she did of wasting money, even scholarship funds, in pursuit of she knew not what? And then discovered a passion that so beautifully synthesized her mind, her body, her spirit, and shared that gift with so many others. What more can you say about someone who raised a son with all the power and force of love that perhaps it is possible to have? To journey with him on a path that celebrated independent thought, embraced the idea that children deserve respect, and that the education of a whole human being is a sum of the community in which he thrives. You can say that there is an empty space where number 6 was, Maura's spot in the Brady lineup of siblings. A place that can't be consumed by another body or air or matter, a void. You can say that there are hundreds of friends and colleagues and former students who are better for having known her and are thankful that their paths intersected for a time on this earth. You can say that there is a bright new star among the night sky. Look up tonight, you can see it. It's riding a bike, holding a beer, eating chocolate, and wondering what all the fuss is about. Okay, and the last little piece is from Molly. I think you all know Molly. And what a huge loss this is for all of us. And I think so very much for certainly John Akai and my mom, but also for Molly. She was my best friend. She was my confidant. She was my super sidekick. And now she is my guiding angel. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Anne, and for all the other Brady family members who shared their stories. Now we're going to have about 10 minutes of music in the interim before we do pop-up speakers. So if you would like to if you feel called to share a story, please just go ahead and raise your hand and we'll get you on the list. You're also welcome to come up here and maybe I'll write your names down. I'm not sure how many of you there will be, so we'll kind of just organically see how that goes. So about 10 minutes. So if you feel called and would like to speak, we would love to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, y'all.
You start out, because I'm gonna go too fast. Yeah, I'm gonna go too fast. So it'll be hard for me not to speed up. Yeah, there can't be too many more left.
If you could please soldier story, I think we can join it.
Okay.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the members of Wax Wings. We have Chelsea Carnes on mandolin, Brian Turk on the upright bass, and Andrew Cook on the fiddle. All right, so this is going to begin the pop-up portion of our memorial to the lovely and amazing Maura Brady. If you would like to speak, there's two ways. You can just raise your hand. You can also come and write your name down up here. The first speaker that we'd like to call to the front to talk is Ted Dixon. So Ted, if you're around. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Bet. Hey, Ted. I see you. I think I'm going to raise the mic for you. You look tall.
Hi.
How you doing? I think you might be a little taller.
I could bend down.
How's that?
I could bend down.
There you go.
One thing I'm hopefully smart enough to understand as you get older is that you listen to people. I've been blessed to become part of the Brady family by having the oldest daughter say yes when I asked her to marry me. And I've learned since then to listen to those 5 sisters. And one of them told me something yesterday which leads to what I'm about to say now. And keeping in focus with the celebration. We begin again. I'm reading a book. And as I'm reading a book, I'm in the book. And there are people in the book. My friends, my family, including the Bradys. And life is about transitions, and that's why books have chapters, because you just can't just keep going. You gotta have breaks and stuff to keep people engaged so they can pause for a second or get excited and understand what the journey is about. I'm in the chapter which included Maura. And all of a sudden she's not here. As I come to the end of the chapter, she's not in it no more. So as a reader, I'm saying, wait a minute. This ain't right. I know there's more books to come, but she is supposed to continue on. I'm saying to the author, whoever that may be, she is supposed to continue on, and she's not. And I'm hurt and angry. I wanted to see where this goes with her in it. We begin again. 3 things happened in my life, which included Maura, that makes the pain difficult. I'll be brief as I can. One, as my wife knows, I'm a Jeep person, and I love Jeep with a stick shift, a Wrangler. And there was a part of my life where I went from one Jeep to another Jeep. It was like a 7-year gap. And in that time, I missed driving a stick shift. We went to St. Augustine. Maura and the family stayed on the beach by the shore, I think, yes. And she knew about this. Not like, you tell her because you got a problem, but she knew about this. So we parked, and there was a store to get something. And I said, and she had a stick shift, beat up Volvo, but it was a stick shift. I didn't care. She said, take it. To some people, it may not mean nothing. But she knew it meant something to me. Just take the car. Had a difficult time because it was tight and it was all beat up in the stick shift. The clutch was weird, but I didn't care. I was happy as a clam. 2, my wife we live in New York, family's down here, and every opportunity we get or she gets to go to Florida to see her family and be with her family who she misses, we go. And I'm smart to know when she goes, whatever she wants to do when she's down there, we do. Because it's not about me, it's about her staying connected to the people she loves. So I go down there sometimes, I come down here, and there's a place I want to go to, but nobody else in the family, sometimes they don't want to go there. It's like, oh, we're not going there, we're not going there. That's not where to go, which is fine. They love me, it's okay, it's fine. There was a time I wanted to see a movie. Maura said, I'll drive you. Your mother drove me. And it was 2 movies. She drove me. We had a conversation as people do in cars. We connected. I called her up after this first movie. I said, I'm going to go sneak into the other movie. Don't tell nobody. Come later. She said, no problem. Came later. She came. We sat in the car. We talked. We bonded. And I said that. I said, you know something? You're my friend. You're my friend. She said, yeah, I'm your friend. That was it. She got 2 bikes for us so that when we come down to the beach, that we had bikes to ride on the beach. I could tell I'm in Maura country. This is Maura country. I could feel the love she left. It's here. We begin again. It's part of the thing. A friend is something. Someone that you once did not know in your life, that then you know and becomes your friend and will do anything for you. I heard someone say, and this happens, you know, they want to get up here and speak, and no, I get it, it's tough. But my thing is, that experience I had with her, whatever fear I have, I'm going to get up here and let people know about it. You don't not get up here and let people know about it. She was my sister. She was my angel, that I believe in those. And she was my friend. I'm going to miss her. And this is going to be hard. I'm angry. And I think it's okay to be angry. I believe in the universe. I believe in God. And I would, if I saw him today, I would tell him, I'm angry. I know you got a reason, but I'm angry. You didn't have to take that one. I love you, Maura.
Thank you, Ted. That was really beautiful. All right, Kara, would you like to come up and speak?
I have the opposite problem now. It's okay, it's fine. What? It's fine. What? I can't hear you. Oh. Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. It's good to see your faces. It's a little bit of a balm in all of this. You know, it's one thing to be like crying my eyes out, and then there's something sort of beautiful about looking around and be like, oh, cool, not alone on that. Like, there's just like a sense of community with our grief, and I am really grateful for it. I'm Kara. I am Tom's daughter, Maura's partner for a long time. I always had a hard time succinctly describing what Maura was to me. She's like my stepmom, just not legally. So that's what we settled on. I got the privilege of knowing her from age like 9 on. Is that about right? Yeah. So that's like a good chunk of my life, and I keep hearing people say that life's not going to be the same without her, and that's so true. And I'm still grappling with processing that for myself. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about was my life's not the same because of her, because of those 25 years, roughly, that I got to spend with her. I want to talk a little bit about how magical she was. I don't know how she could be so serious and intense and on top of her shit all of the time, and then so full of just giggles and cackling and playfulness at the same time. I admire that so much. I'm gonna miss that so much. She's sort of my idol in cooking. Those sweet potatoes that Anne mentioned really hit home. I cannot see like a tray of roasted root vegetables without bursting into tears. And she was I was so impressed with her garden. I don't think I'll ever be that accomplished a gardener, and that's fine. It's a big thing to live up to. Hey, Jonna. And she was my mentor at massage. She made it possible for me to go to school here, which is an incredible gift that changed my life. And I learned so much from her, and after I graduated, she would let me trade with her and practice, and connecting in that way was really special. And so now when I'm working, I just think of her hands. I just can't get that out of my head. I just see her little freckled, super strong hands. And I feel really connected that way. And that makes me happy. And I know that she connected with you guys, many of you anyway, in that way. And anyway, this is also my first time speaking at a memorial. My first time losing, essentially, a third parent. And it's really hard. And I know it's really hard for all of you too. Anyway, I think, are you next? I think I'll make room for Jonna to say some things. I just couldn't not get up and say how incredible she was. Just in case you're listening. I hope she knew. I think she knew.
Bear with me.
I love you.
Love you too. Oh, the torment bred in the race, the grinding scream of death, and the stroke that hits the vein, the hemorrhage none can staunch, the grief, the curse no man can bear. But there is a cure in the house, and not outside it, no, not from others but from them, their bloody strife. We sing to you, dark gods beneath the earth. Now hear you, blissful powers underground. Answer the call, send help, bless the children now. Aeschylus, the libation bearers. Death is but crossing the world, as friends do the seas. They live in one another still, for they must needs be present that love and live in that which is omnipresent. In this divine glass they see face to face, and their converse is free as well as pure. This is the comfort of friends. That though they may be said to die, yet their friendship and society are in the best sense ever present, because immortal. William Penn, More Fruits of Solitude. Thank you so much for everything, Mom. Goes without saying.
Thank you, Jonica. Would anyone else like to come up and speak? Yes, Heath.
My name is Heath. I attended Florida School of Massage and graduated in July 2004, and I've stayed connected to Maura since then. Her death came as an enormous shock. I knew she was ill, but like her, I expected she would still be here. I've been to more funerals and memorial services than I wish I had. And people are always paid tribute to after they have passed. Other than my own family, I haven't felt this kind of a loss and felt like part of the grieving community. We all deal with grief in our own ways, in our own time. We pay tribute to those we have lost, and we pray that the pain will subside and that the good memories will remain. I'm still grieving for Maura's passing, and I know you all are too. My connection with Maura, I'll give just a little bit of detail about it because it's just another one of those threads of her life, as much as it was of my life, that she connected with me. She gave me the gift of seeing what kind of a massage therapist I could be, and in some ways, what kind of a person I am. This school has a great reputation, and most people who go here sail through really happily. I was not one of those people. I really struggled. And I got the lessons of touch and attention as the years went by after I graduated. And staying in touch with Maura, because she remained my massage therapist through all those years. So I graduated 17 years ago. She was my primary personal massage therapist for 17 years. And to think that I'm never going to feel her touch again is part of my grief. I also can thank her profoundly because she helped me to breathe. When I was in school here, I always felt like my breath caught around here. That had been going on for years. And I did a connective tissue session with her, or Rolfing. She had been trained, I don't know if she did the whole Rolfing training, but she had enough of it that she could work on my chest and whatever was connected to that. And that tension's gone, and it's been gone for more than a decade. So thank you, Maura, again. Before I came up, I thought there are like so many stories that I could tell and so many deep thoughts that I'm having while I'm sitting there thinking about Maura and her family and this community and this gathering. And I'll just say, blessed be.
Thank you so much, Heath. So we have about 15 more minutes to share stories. Yes, over here.
Hey, my name's Suzanne, and I've known Maura. I knew Maura for about 30 some odd years. I met her when my friend said, "Do you want a roommate?" And I said, "Sure." And she was working at Coney Island at the time, and I met her because I didn't have a place to live at the time. So my friend Vino, who introduced us, said, "Go to Coney Island and you'll meet this woman. Her name's Maura." And I went. She was there looking like Miss Marple with like crazy earrings and a hat on and just like handling Coney Island like it was hers, And so I said, "Yeah, I heard you're looking for some place to live and we should maybe get together." So the next day we got together and She picked me up in her white Falcon. She had a 64 Falcon. She like pulled up in my parking lot that I was staying in, and she said, let's go look for a place. So we went to look for a place. We looked all over Gainesville. Found a place on 7th Street, and it was like old, cute little Florida house. And she said, let's call the person. We called him. He's like, yeah, that's my house, but I've got a 2-story house around the corner. And we're like, 2 stories? Yes! We moved in to this 2-story house and lived there for about 10 years. And I said, oh, by the way, Maura, I have a 3-year-old daughter. I don't know if you know that. You're gonna be raising my kid with me. So she proceeded to be a better mother than I was. I would wake up and oatmeal would be cooking, and my daughter would be dressed, had been yard sailing, be like, look what I got. And she was just like an amazing person that could just make things happen, would just manifest things. And I was fortunate enough to be her friend all these years while she went through from, deadhead to bluegrass to massage school to the badass that she was. Every birthday she'd call me, she's like, well, Nadia Chitakni. And I'm like, yeah, I know you are. Yeah. And, up until a few weeks before she passed away, she was just there, still going, you need a bicycle? What's going on with that tube? You need to get those weeds out of the yard. And that's kind of like who she was. Like, the other story I want to tell you, and it's for you, Janakai, is when you were little, she brought you over and she's like, check this out. You want to see what makes him laugh? And she would spit and you would crack up. You thought that was like the funniest thing in the world. She's like, see what? Check it out. And you would just lose your mind over that. And the other thing is that she went to Vipassana, which was a place where you could go and meditate and be quiet. And, she went up in Massachusetts and did that. So I guess you could send a letter. And so she sent me, and she said that she didn't do this, but she did. She sent me a letter that was just a blank page. It was just like nothing on the page. It was like, and then the other last thing I'll say about her that I knew she was an incredible person was that, we lived in a house and sometimes things went wrong. So the gas person would come and Maura would answer the door like topless. It'd be like, look, you need to move so-and-so over there. That's not working. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and the guy would be like, okay. Like, she's like, what? I mean, I could be topless. He could be topless. I could be topless. I was like, okay. So yeah, that's Maura. Thanks.
I assume most people know what Vipassana is, but just in case you didn't get that joke, Vipassana is like a silent sit, typically for like a week, where you don't say a word to anyone, and you eat like really basic like food that they give you, and you can't even like talk to anyone who's like in the sit with you. And so the fact that Maura sent you a blank piece of paper is like prime humor. That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that, Suzanne. Anyone else? We have a few more minutes. All right, we have a taker. So in this last little bit, trying to keep it like under 5 minutes just so we can accommodate everyone. Welcome.
Hi. Maura, when I was in school here, I asked my class for a little help. I'm like, anybody got any odd jobs for me? And she invited me over to her home to come and clean. And that was my first time into her home, and I'm really bummed I never made it for the Halloween parties that I was invited to after that. But she taught me how to wash windows, and I'll wash my windows just like she taught me for the rest of my life. She taught me a lot of things. But windows, I can teach all of y'all real quick. It's just like soapy water and like a cotton rag to wash it all down with real good, and then just dry it up with like a all cotton pillowcase or t-shirt. It was so perfect, and her windows were so beautiful, and I scrubbed her staircase, and it was really wonderful. And she cooked me beautiful food and that she grew, and yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Maura.
Y'all can't leave it to me to talk. I've already been crying in front of all of you multiple times today. Yes, thank you. Come on up.
Hi, everybody. My heart's beating really fast. I'm just going to take a second. You know, I believe that every journey ends at home. And for me, this place, like so many others, FSM and Gainesville, is kind of a home that I keep coming back to. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that journey. Right now, I'm based in the Bay Area, and I came here from California via New York. It was a very long journey. And the reality is that I wasn't all that close to Maura. That's but when I was working at this school almost 20 years ago now, or 15 years ago or something, that journey that I've been on, she kind of set me on that in a way. You know, I think somebody said before how Maura, she was bold and fierce, and she would just say what she had to say, and I was the victim of that once. So we were in massage school, and I think I was maybe like 23, 24 at the time, really raw, really, really raw. And she basically confronted my maleness. Long before all the political activism of today, long before the Me Too movement, she confronted my maleness, and it was something that I couldn't bear. It was something that I wasn't able to hold at that time. Currently, I'm a child psychologist, and I'm doing a lot of work with gender and a lot of work with dismantling the patriarchy and dismantling white supremacy. And it just so happened that this week was a break that I have from my professional responsibilities, and then I found out about this event, and I felt like I had to come back. I felt like I had to come back, and I didn't want to speak today. Anne, thank you for the encouragement. She said, you should share this story. You know, Maura confronted me, and I didn't know what beautiful, gentle, loving confrontation looked like. I only knew what toxic confrontation looked like. She confronted me, and I didn't take it well. And then maybe like a week later in communications class, she looped me into this conversation, and we never talked about that confrontation, but that was kind of like her way of being like, I was just teaching you, that was just love, we're okay. And she just did that so much, you know. She influenced people, and she gave them a way to show up in a way that is novel and great. And my heart hurts because I always had a fantasy that I would at some point have this conversation with her, and we could reconciliate that moment. So I'm just going to read something really quick, and I think that'll take care of that. All matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, and we are all one consciousness, experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death, and life is only a dream. Thank you.
Well, one of my names is Kaba, and I really can't say too much, but Maura I love, and as far as I'm concerned, she's still with me. She always will be. She didn't leave me. She's always with me. She's everywhere I am, she is. That's who Maura is. She's always with me. Thanks. Thank you all for being here. Bye.
All right, we have about 5 more minutes, so we could take maybe one more speaker if anyone feels called to share. Awesome.
Hello. I had absolutely no intentions of speaking today. I several times heard people speaking about speaking, and I was like, nope, not going to do that, can't do that, too much. So, I'm going to tell a funny story. Maura spoke in such a way that was very direct. You never were wondering about, I wonder what she meant by that. It was very clear. What she had to say was exactly what she had to say, and there was no mincing of her words. So one time, we're in a session, and she's teaching me. She's the client, I'm the therapist. And we had just learned this beautiful stroke in connective tissue, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. I'm going to demonstrate it now. You have to get down super low. It's working on the glutes. And you got to get super low into your squat. It's really uncomfortable. And I wasn't low enough. And also, it's like this thing can happen where you unfortunately open someone's butt cheek, and it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable for the client. The therapist has no idea. So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. And I was like, I didn't ask her how it was going because I was like, I know this is wonderful. And she lifts her head out of the face cradle and she goes, Mackenzie, you need to stop doing that right now because you are actively opening my butt cheek. And it was something that I will carry with me for the rest of my days because I think about that every time I do glute work now. So thank you.
Wow, that was a really good story. Thank you, Mackenzie. Awesome. So I don't know if you all have your programs out, but I just wanted to go over a couple things in here, a little bit of post-memorial housekeeping. So we are inviting you to join us at the Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery directly after this. The directions to Prairie Creek. So basically, if you just get on your smartphone, I'm assuming you have a smartphone, or you know someone who has a smartphone, you can look up Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery. But to get to tomorrow's actual burial site, you can go to prairiecreek.semsites.com and type in Maura Brady, and that will give you the actual directions, the GPS directions to her site within the Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery area. So thank you all so much for being here. On behalf of the family, I know all of them have expressed so much joy and thanks that all of you are here. And thank you to the Florida School of Massage. Thank you to Wax Wings. And thank you all for loving Maura as much as I did and still do. So thank you.
So you're gonna go out to the cemetery?
Oh, I don't know. This is Maura's. I don't know.